Hi, good Monday morning, June 6, 2011. This is Anna from HotOptionBabe.com down here in sunny, gorgeous Tampa, Florida. I have a screenshot of the E-minis here on the chart, and I'm going to show you where I drew some lines last week. And I believe I had this out last week. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I had drawn a head and shoulder pattern here on the ES. And this is on the daily chart, and I drew this neckline here. And lo and behold, you can see where we came down here. We came down again. We bottomed out around, I think the low was last night was 1292, which I believe we've seen that. I think that's the second time. I'm not 100%. Still Monday morning, so bear with me, because I want to sort of go over these charts. You can see we're sort of getting oversold. However, you know, you can bump along the bottom just like we can bump along the top. So you can't say we're oversold, we're going up. Now, according to the whole moving average, this is a continuing downward momentum for now. The histogram is giving a sell. Now, that doesn't mean we won't get big bounces along the way, obviously. Now, what I want to show you on the 60, and I just drew a chart on one of my other computers. Oh, let's remove all this stuff. I'm going to delete all the drawings, and yes, I do, and that we can have a nice clean chart. I'm going to open it up, and you can see we got the pivots on here. Okay, and first thing I would notice, the very first thing on hourly, is that you have a big bear flag here. Okay, a big bear flag, which tells me we're probably going lower. And that means we're probably going to come back down to this 1278 level. Okay, now that's not written in stone, nothing ever is, but the markets are now sell to bounces. You can even argue there's a bit of a head and shoulder here. Here's your little shoulder, here's your head, and then you have a shoulder over here. So you got two things that are confirming a downward move. Now, this is what I think is possible that could happen. I think it's possible we could bounce up here to around 1299, 1300, and then continue our downward momentum. So that's what I'm looking at on that. Now, if you draw, let me take a trend line, and I'm going to show you something. You're going to take the top of this, which is not going to be drawn perfectly because this is a freaking Windows, and I hate Windows. Oops, we don't want that one. Delete that part. We don't need a check mark there. Okay. Okay, and then you take this line and you draw it here, and you have yourself a falling bearish wedge. Now, that normally propends to resolve eventually to the upside. Okay, it just runs out of sellers here for a while, and then it's probably gonna bounce. My level I'm looking at is around 1278, 1282, 1278, and then you would have a nice big bounce up to, we'll see what happens. I'm not sure just yet, maybe 1320, but we'll keep our eyes excuse me, open for that. Let's go over and look at the Russell, and I'm sure we're going to see about the same story. Obviously, yes, we do. I did call last week for just about every level here in the lounge, and we were spot on most of every level. Here's your bear flag, continuation down. We found some support around 806. However, I'm calling for this level, 792. Before the correction, at least that much of a correction to go. Now you can see it's not as oversold on the hourly as well. Let's take a look at the daily. The daily, the daily. You still see that head and shoulder pattern, and I've been pointing that out for a while. Okay, so I'm looking for 792. It's a pivot, and for those of you who don't know, you can use your person pivots for that. There's a couple other indicators that say some more down. That being the hull is turning purple, which is a sign of a continuous move. This morning probably we'll see some sort of bounce towards that. I say that 1300 mark, maybe a 15 on the Russell. Bounces are made at this point to be sold for a while. Same thing, you have a falling bearish wedge. I'm not going to draw it, but you know what I'm looking at right here. Let's take a look at crude, short crude this morning. Hopefully the thing implodes. Just sick of this gas stuff. We do have a head and shoulder here on crude. Okay, I think that's going to resolve down to at least 98, 98.50, 98.38. 96.55 is where I really think that we'll end up at in the short term. 96.55. It's a pivot right here. Okay, your haul says down, and hopefully this breaks through here and goes on down. Now let's take a look at gold. Take a look at gold. Okay, the 60 says it is a little oversold. However, like I said, you can't, these stochastics, you can come up and think you're going to go up here, but it can give you can see how it can bounce along the bottom or bounce along the top. So I use that basically as just an indicator I glance at. It's nothing I really trade fully off of. Your histogram says a sell on gold. Right now we're at some upper levels on this bad boy. I am short gold here. I'm looking for some kind of correction here. The daily looks like it's got us in a head and shoulder here, but look, now I'm going to draw the trend line here. Oops, I'll have to open this up first. Let me open this up a little bit. And yes, the head and shoulders can be on a diagonal. Does not mean it has to be. There's your trend line. Now, if it breaks this trend line here, you know, it should come down and see, you know, 14.79 is a correction. We'll see, because it's still up, following this trend line up for right now. Okay, we're at 15.43, and I'm going to show you the dollar here in a second. And the reason being is that the dollar has been so severely beaten up. I'm looking for a correction on gold. And we'll see how that plays out. But the dollar just continually beaten up last week. It was just amazing to see how bad. And yet the markets couldn't rally. And that was another signal. You got to look at that. Normally when the dollar is beaten down, the stock market will rally. But it wasn't able to do this. Now here's the dollar on the daily. You can see it's down here in the dust. It's flatlining, I call it. Weekly, oh, did I pull up the weekly? Let's look at the weekly. Weekly, it looks like it wants to turn back up here on the weekly. So we'll see on that, but you can see the shorter time frames. It definitely is due for some upside. Here's your blue, which indicates a move up. We got down to this level, 73.64, a pivot there. Excuse me, I must be getting a cold. I'm looking for at least a bounce to around 74.49, possibly 74.83 or thereabouts. Okay, that's just, now you can see in this hourly it's showing a little bit of overbought. They're going to set this market up for a bounce today, I'm sure. But like I said, those are great opportunities for you to load up on some of your shorts. We just got to see if the dollar continues to strengthen. Let's take a look at the daily again. Let's look at the 4-hour. I'll tell you, painting is one hard job. I didn't never realize how that manual type labor is. Whew, good Lord. And I have 18-foot ceilings, so I was in, and they're not only vaulted 18-foot ceilings, but I have these lofts on the side of the walls, you know, and I painted those a different color than the other wall, so I had to come up and down. I was up and down that ladder like 80 times, and I can tell you my buttocks got real toned this weekend. Up and down my 18-foot ladder is, you know, a lot. That many times all day long for 2 days. Now let's pull up this. I did notice last week on the dollar, this bear flag. Now, there's a series of them. There's one right there. Okay, it tried to negate it, came back down, made another one, and there's your other. Now we got another bear flag, which concerns me. It looks like we may have put in a short-term bottoming tail here, but they're probably running this up pre-market so they can tank it, so they can turn around and tank it down and bounce the market, because it's getting a little bit oversold on the markets. So we'll see what happens on that. So that's pretty well covering everything. Let's take a look at cat, because I am short cat via a spread, and that's been working fairly well. And I'm looking for cat to around 97.57. Okay, 97.57. So we'll see where that ends up in the next couple weeks. So that being said, I don't know what kind of data we have this week. I'm going to take a quick look here. I'm going to take a quick look. Hey, let's see what kind of economic data we have. Today, June 6th, we have, we don't have much of anything. We got Charles Plosser speaking at 3:30 a.m. Well, then he's already spoke. We got a 4-week bill announcement, a 3-month bill auction, and a 6-month bill auction. And it doesn't look like we have any economic data coming out today. It's pretty mundane today, no big numbers. What I would say would be big for the week. Where'd my economic data go? I hate when that happens. Okay, I'll pull it back up. Tomorrow we've got consumer credit at 3 p.m. Not much. A lot of Fed speak this week. Ben Bernanke speaking at 3:45. Richard Fisher at 5:30. Dennis Lockhart tomorrow. Tom Honig on Wednesday, and Janet Yellen on Thursday. I'm not sure, and Charles Plosser on Thursday as well. So the big stuff I see this week is there's not a whole lot coming out. You know, you have your jobless claims on Thursday. I think that's probably what the market's going to be looking for, unless something comes out of one of these Fed boneheads. Import and export prices on Friday, but not a whole lot of 10 o'clock numbers at all. So it's going to be it's going to be a sort of a slow summer, I think, but you know what? You just never know. Listen, guys, have a great trading week. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at info@hotoptionbabe.com. And if you're interested in joining the lounge, just let me know. Thank you. Have a great day.